You think chasing her harder will make her want you more. But the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything changes. Let that land for a second. You've been doing this backwards, pouring in the texts, the calls, the effort, the energy, the time, and wondering why she keeps pulling away. Wondering why the more you give, the less she seems to want. Wondering why the second you back off, even just a little, she suddenly remembers you exist. That is not a coincidence. That is not a game. That is not a trick you play on someone. That is a deeply rooted psychological and emotional reality. And today, right now in this video, you're going to understand exactly why it happens, what it means, and more importantly, what it says about who you need to become. And if this is the first time you're landing on this channel, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe right now. Not for me, for you. Because the world out there is full of voices telling you to be more accommodating, more available, more patient, more soft. And if you need somebody cutting through that noise with something real on a regular basis, you need to be here. This is the space for that. Subscribe, let's keep going. Here is the thesis, plain and clear. Disappearing is not a tactic. It is not a manipulation strategy. It is not a mind game you run on a woman to make her miss you. When it is done correctly, and there is a correct way and a wrong way, disappearing is the natural byproduct of a man who has reclaimed his own life, his own standards, and his own self-respect. And when a man does that, when a man genuinely redirects his energy inward, something shifts in her every time. The question is not whether it works. The question is whether you understand why it works. Because if you understand the why, you stop using it as a trick. You start living it as a truth. And that is the difference between a man who gets temporary results and a man who commands permanent respect. So let's build this properly. Let's start with the misconception. Most men who come across this idea, who hear that pulling back makes a woman more interested, immediately go tactical. They think, great, I'll just ignore her for 3 days and she'll be begging me to come back. They set a timer, they draft the witty message they'll send when they resurface. They disappear on the outside while completely obsessing on the inside. They're lying in bed at night, checking her last seen status, running scenarios in their head, wondering if she's thinking about them yet. They are not actually gone. They have only physically gone quiet. Mentally, emotionally, they are still completely in her orbit, still revolving around her, still anchored to her response, her mood, her attention. They've gone dark on the surface, but they're still on fire underneath. That is not disappearing. That is hiding, and women can feel the difference. Here is the hard truth. The reason disappearing works has absolutely nothing to do with absence making the heart grow fonder. That is a romantic fairy tale. The reason it works is this. A man who genuinely redirects his focus away from a woman and back onto himself becomes a different man, a more attractive man, a more grounded man, a man with something to lose again because he has something to gain. And that shift, that real internal shift, is what women respond to, not the silence, the substance behind the silence. You stop chasing her. You stop waiting for her reply. You stop adjusting your schedule around her availability. You stop shrinking yourself into whatever shape you think she wants. You stop making her the main character of your story. You stop and you start. You start training. You start building. You start having conversations that have nothing to do with her. You start waking up with a direction that does not require her presence to feel valid. That is what creates the shift she feels. That is what changes the air between you, not the time gap, the transformation inside the time gap. Why does this happen? Why does a woman's interest recalibrate the moment a man steps back from her? Because attraction, at its most fundamental level, is not about logic. It is about polarity. It is about energy. And there is a law operating under every interaction you have ever had with a woman, whether you know it or not. The law is simple. Investment flows toward value. When you are over pursuing, when you are always available, when you are constantly in her field and always angling for her attention, you are signaling loudly with every text, every follow-up, every "did you see my message?" that she is the most valuable thing in your world right now. And when something is abundantly available, when something is always there, always reaching for you, always accommodating you, the human brain stops assigning high value to it. That is not cruelty. That is psychology. We desire what we are not sure we can hold. We appreciate what has the possibility of not being there. When you pull back, genuinely pull back, you are not engineering mystery. You are restoring the natural balance. You are reinstating yourself as someone with a life that moves with or without her. And that recalibration of value, that sudden question mark in her mind, wait, is he okay? Wait, what is he doing? Wait, why hasn't he reached out? That is not her being manipulative. That is her noticing something has shifted. That is her instinct picking up on the fact that the gravity of the interaction has changed, that you are no longer in orbit around her, and something in her, something ancient and primal and completely beneath logic, leans forward. Now let's talk about what it costs you when you don't do this. When you keep chasing, when you stay in pursuit mode past the point where it is serving you. It costs you your dignity. Every unanswered text that you follow up with another text is a small withdrawal from your own self-respect account. Every time you bend your schedule to make yourself available when she has not shown the same reciprocity, you are training yourself to accept a lower standard. Every time you offer more and receive less and stay anyway, you are carving a groove in your nervous system that says, this is what I deserve. And those grooves get deeper. They don't stay shallow. They become the baseline you operate from in the next relationship and the one after that and the one after that until you look up one day and realize you have spent years in a posture of pursuit. Never once feeling truly chosen. Never once feeling like the man in the room rather than the man waiting outside it. It also costs you her respect. This is the part that stings. You are not being rejected because you are too loving. You are being overlooked because you have made yourself too easy. There is no challenge in you. There is no uncertainty. There is no moment where she has to wonder. And when there is no wondering, there is no pull. She knows exactly where you are. She knows exactly what you will do. She knows you will respond fast. She knows you will make time. She knows you will be there. And so she doesn't have to think about you. She doesn't have to lean in. She doesn't have to earn you. You are already hers, completely hers, without her having done anything to deserve that. That's called giving someone the harvest without the planting, and it makes the harvest taste cheap. So here is the reframe, and this is the part I need you to really sit with. Disappearing is not a weapon. It is a reclamation. It is you reaching back into your own life and taking back the energy you handed over prematurely. It is you remembering that your time is finite, your attention is currency, and your presence should require something in return. It is you deciding, maybe for the first time, that you are not going to chase someone who has not clearly chosen you, not because you are playing hard to get, but because you have chosen yourself first. Because you finally understand that a man who does not choose himself cannot be fully chosen by anyone else. She will sense that vacancy in you, that need, that hunger for validation. And no matter how much she might care about you, she cannot be the solution to a problem you have to solve inside yourself. Let me paint you a picture of the man I'm talking about. This man wakes up in the morning with a direction, not a vague hope, not a loose intention, a direction. He has things he is building, things he is protecting, things he is becoming. His identity is not tethered to any woman's response to him. His mood does not live in her reply. His confidence does not need her approval as oxygen. He has a world, and it is a world she can enter, but it does not collapse if she doesn't. He is warm. He is not cold. He is not distant out of bitterness or wound. He is warm because he is grounded, because he knows who he is. When he is with a woman, he is fully present, engaged, interested. He asks real questions and he listens to the answers. He laughs with genuine ease. But when he leaves, when he walks out the door or puts down the phone, he is gone. Not gone as in unavailable for the night. Gone as in fully returned to his own life. His mind does not linger in her orbit. His energy is not still sending signals while his body is elsewhere. He is present when he is present. He is gone when he is gone. And that completeness, that wholeness, is something most women have never encountered. Most women have only met men who were either all in her face or completely absent in both body and mind. To meet a man who is fully present and then fully away, that creates an impression that does not fade easily. He also has standards. Not rules he has read in a book. Standards he has developed through knowing himself. He knows what he will accept and what he will not. He knows when a dynamic is feeding him and when it is draining him. And he does not negotiate on the things that matter, not because he is rigid, because he is clear. And there is something magnetic about clarity in a man. It is rare. Most men will bend and shift and soften their position to keep a woman comfortable. This man does not. He is kind about it. He is not aggressive, but he does not fold. And she feels that. She feels that she cannot push him around. Not because he is a wall, but because he is a center. He has a center. And she keeps coming back to it. This is the man you are building toward, not a man who plays games, a man who no longer needs to. Now let's get practical. Let's get specific. Here is what this actually looks like in your real life starting right now. Stop sending double texts. If you sent a message and she has not responded, that message is still there. She saw it. She is choosing when and whether to respond. Another message from you does not increase your value. It decreases it. It signals that her response controls your behavior. Let the first message stand. Let it breathe. Let it do its work or not do its work. Either answer tells you something important. Stop being a same-day responder to someone who makes you wait. Reciprocity is not a game. It is information. If she takes 12 hours to reply and you are always responding in under 3 minutes, you are showing her that her time is more valuable than yours. That is a statement. And she is receiving it whether you intend to send it or not. Match the energy you are receiving, not as a punishment, as an honest reflection of the balance between you. Stop canceling your plans for last-minute invitations. A man with a life has prior commitments. If she reaches out Thursday night asking what you are doing Saturday and you already have something going, your answer is that you are busy Saturday. You can make time next week. That simple sentence does more work for your attractiveness than any perfectly crafted message. It says your life was moving before her text came in, and it will keep moving regardless of whether she shows up or not. She will respect it, or she will leave. And if she leaves over that, she was never actually investing in you to begin with. Redirect your fixation. This is the hard one. This is the work. Every time you catch yourself picking up your phone to check if she's replied, put the phone down and do something real, something physical, something that builds you. Go train, go read, go work on the project you have been putting off. Go call a friend you have been neglecting. Go do the thing that makes you more of the man you want to be. Every redirect is a rep. Every rep builds the muscle, and that muscle, that ability to reclaim your own focus, is the foundation everything else is built on. You cannot fake that. You cannot fake a man who has genuine direction, and you do not need to, because it is available to you right now if you choose it. Stop looking for signs. Stop analyzing her Instagram stories to see if she viewed yours. Stop dissecting the energy of her last message to determine if it was warm or cold. Stop creating a case file on her behavior looking for evidence of where you stand. That behavior is anxiety dressed up as strategy, and it will drain you hollow. You do not need to decode her. You need to decide. Decide whether the interaction is serving you. Decide whether you are being met with genuine interest or just enough breadcrumbs to keep you around. Decide from a place of self-respect, not desperation, and then act on what you decide. Decisiveness in a man is attractive. Indecision is repellent. Not because it looks weak, it is weak. And you know the difference. And stop waiting to start your life until she confirms that you are worth starting it with. Your life does not begin when she says yes. Your life is happening right now, in this moment, in every choice you make today. The man she is eventually going to choose, if she is the right one, is the man who was already building when she arrived, not the man who put everything on hold waiting for her to signal that he could begin. Here is what I want you to understand at the deepest level. The version of you that is chasing, that version is afraid of being unwanted, afraid of being forgotten, afraid that if you stop reaching, the connection will evaporate and that will mean something terrible about your worth. That fear is the thing driving the behavior, and no amount of tactical advice will fix a fear problem. Only identity work fixes a fear problem. Only you deciding at the root level that your worth is not located in her response. Only that decision changes everything. You are not the man who chases. You are the man who builds. You are not the man who waits. You are the man who moves. You are not the man who adjusts himself into whatever shape someone else seems to want. You are the man who is so clearly himself that the right people can find him, and the wrong ones naturally fall away. Let that identity land. Let it replace the old story that said you had to earn your place, work for your value, justify your presence. That story was never true. It was just the one you were handed and you never examined it. You are examining it now. You are the answer, not the answer to what she wants. The answer to the question of who you were always supposed to become. When you are that fully, unapologetically, consistently that, everything changes. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you enter a room, the way you end a conversation, the way you hold your ground when someone tests it, all of it changes. And people respond to that change. She responds to that change because they can feel a man who has found his center. It is different from everything else. It stands out. It is rare. And deep down, it is exactly what has always been missing. So disappear, not into hiding, into yourself, into your purpose, into the version of you that does not require her validation to feel whole. That is the disappearance that commands attention. That is the silence that speaks louder than anything you have ever said. That is the distance that pulls her forward because she can feel that something worth reaching for is on the other side of it. Do the work, reclaim the energy, build the life, be the man, and let the results be what they are. If this hit you the way I believe it did, subscribe right now, because this is what we do here. Every single video, we cut through the noise and we give you the truth. Not the comfortable version, not the version that makes you feel good about staying stuck, but the version that actually moves you forward. You need that on your feed, not as motivation you consume and forget, as a regular recalibration, a reminder of what you are capable of and who you are becoming. We are building something here, a community of men who have decided to stop chasing approval and start building lives worth choosing. You are one of those men. You are already one of those men. You just needed someone to say it clearly enough that you could believe it. Welcome. Stay with us. There is more coming, and it only gets sharper from here. Word count, 350 words.